Hi, if you've been following my channel for a while now, you know that every year I do an updated version on how to fill out Form W-4. And these videos usually get viewed by thousands, and many of you often have lots of questions that I don't always get to answer. So this year I actually decided to do a series of short videos specifically geared towards each filing status. Well, I'm calling them like mini classes, okay? So make sure you come back because I will be doing your filing status in an upcoming video, right? So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, today's free class is for single filers, all right? I'm Coach Tasha, a tax and business strategist, and I help six-figure and multiple six-figure entrepreneurs, business owners, and individuals to redirect more money away from taxes and into their financial goals, all right? On my channel, I talk about all things taxes and entrepreneurship, business building, and everything, okay? Now, whether you're filling out the W-4 for the first time or looking to update your information, this free class is designed to simplify the process and ensure you're on the right track. With tax laws constantly changing, staying informed is key to maximizing your returns and minimizing your liabilities, okay? Now, first, I want to give you an overview of the purpose of Form W-4, okay? Form W-4, also known as the Employees Withholding Certificate, plays a crucial role in your tax life. Its primary purpose is to inform your employer how much federal income tax to withhold from your paycheck. Sorry, I had an alarm going off. Okay, it was annoying. Okay, now, why does this even matter? Well, accurate withholding ensures that you don't end up owing a large sum of money when it's time to file your tax return, nor do you really want the government holding on to more money than they're supposed to get throughout the year, right? Now, when you start a new job, all right, or like your income is changing or whatever, and sometimes you're experiencing other life events, okay, updating your W-4 is essential. Now, for single filers, understanding how to accurately complete this form can help you navigate through the tax year smoothly, and that's all filers, all right, which helps you avoid surprises and will really optimize your financial planning. Now, first, I want to give you an overview of the purpose of Form W-4 because there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings. First of all, about all filing statuses, but today we're focusing on the single filing status. Now, let me give you a breakdown of what can qualify, who can qualify, right, for the single filing status. Now, as a disclaimer, this video is not legal advice and is for educational purposes only, so be sure to consult with a professional. And yes, you are welcome to use the link in my description box to book me for a strategy call, okay? The 5 examples are unmarried individuals, like if you've never been married, okay? Or if you've been divorced by the last day of the year, okay? If you've been widowed, unfortunately, you don't have any dependents that you're claiming, as well as if you're an individual who's legally separated, again, by the last date of the year, all right? And also a young adult who does not qualify to be claimed by your parent or anyone else. Now, one major mistake I see people make is not updating their W-4 throughout the year as different life events happen. So if you're not sure, you should always consult with a tax professional. Another mistake I want to point out is that a lot of people forget that this form is actually only for federal taxes and that you will still need to fill out a withholding form in your state if it applies, okay? Now, I'm going to actually take you to the form, and I'm also going to do a walkthrough of a tool on the IRS website called the Withholding Estimator, all right? Because it's really just helpful in you getting some estimated taxes going on, okay? Now, for this example, we're going to be using someone who's making like $80K a year, and they're making $80K a year. They don't have any side things going on. Now, I've already actually done all the calculations for this example, so let me cut to that part of the video. Okay, so here we have Form W-4 for 2024. Okay, every year this form, they put the next, the appropriate year. So yeah, that's why it's just always it's really good to like update them every year, honestly. All right, so here's where you're going to enter your personal information, first name, middle initial, if you have one, your last name. You're going to put your social security number here. You're going to put your address, your city, state, and zip. And then here you want to be sure to check the box for single. Okay, and let's see what's it saying over here. Does your name match the name on your social security card? Right. That's really key, and that's good that they put that there, because you'd be surprised how many people are like, your withholdings are not even crediting under your social properly, because your stuff is not matching here with what's on your social security card. So you want to be sure of that. Okay, now see where it says here, complete steps 2 through 4 only if they apply to you, otherwise skip to 5. Now let's go and see what step 2 is. Step 2, if you have multiple jobs or if your spouse works. Now again, since in today's free class, I'm only talking about single filers, we already know that the spouse working, we're not worrying about that. And if you did have multiple jobs, now for our example, I know I said our person only has one job, okay? But if you did have a second job, you would want to check this box, because see where it says here, if there are only 2 jobs total, you may check this box. Do not do the same on Form W-4 for the other job, okay? This option is generally more accurate than if you pay on the lower, if the pay on the lower paying job is more than half of the pay on the higher paying job. Okay. So basically, let's say if you did, for your example, if you did work 2 jobs, you would want to check this box on job 1 and fill out the W-4 on job 2 and also check that box. Okay. So that's what you want to make sure you're, filling that out correctly. Now, complete steps 3 through 4 on Form W-4 only for only one job of these jobs. Okay. So, oops, sorry. Okay. So, yeah. So you see, that should be pretty much self-explanatory, meaning you would only complete, if you did have 2 jobs, you would only complete steps 3 and 4 for one of the 2 jobs. You see what I'm saying? Okay, now let's see what 3 and 4 is. If your total income will be $200,000 or less, all right, multiply the number of qualifying children under age 17. Now, again, we're talking about single filers, okay? We're not talking about someone who has a dependent, because that filing status would be head of household, okay? And again, I'll do that in another video. So yeah, so this wouldn't apply, because we're not, for single filers, we're not claiming any dependent children. Multiply the number of other dependents by 500. Yeah, so all of that would not be applicable. Okay, now let's see 4. Other income, not from, if you want tax withheld for other income you expect this year that won't have withholding, enter the amount of the other income here. This may include interest, dividends, and retirement income. So this line can be kind of helpful in a sense where, let's say, for instance, you have a side gig or whatever. And also, as they mention here, you already know that you're going to be having some interest coming in, some dividends, maybe some retirement money or whatever, or you're planning to take money out of your retirement or whatever. And so you want extra tax coming out. Okay, you can put an amount here so that, your employer will know to do that. Okay, or you can just leave it blank if none of that applies. Now, some people are like, well, I just want to bring whatever money I can take home, my take home pay, I just want it to be fine. And that's okay. But, if it's going to wind up that you may owe, you just got to do it with what works best for you, because if it winds up that you're going to owe, did you do yourself more harm than good? You know what I mean? So sometimes you may need to do some projections. Now let's see deductions. If you expect to claim deductions other than the standard deduction and want to reduce your withholding, okay, use the deduction worksheet on page 3. Now let's go. Most people, I'm going to be honest with you, that's why I'm not really going to go too heavily into that worksheet, because at this point with the tax laws, most people claim standard. It's very rare that people are now still qualifying to itemize their deductions, but there are still some out there. So let's take a peek at the worksheet on page 3. Where are we? Okay, here's page 3. Okay, so, and then this is the section for deductions worksheet. This section is the multiple jobs, but as I mentioned earlier, in terms of checking the box and stuff like that. Okay, I'll come back up here in a minute, but let's see. For the deductions worksheet, enter an estimate of your 2024 itemized deductions from Schedule A, Form 1040. So you're actually going to need like your prior year to kind of enter some information from here, okay, to get an idea of if you should be if you qualify to itemize or not. Okay, if you itemize your deductions, which are people who, like, for example, let's say you own a home, you're a resident, you own your residence and you're paying mortgage interest, you're paying property taxes, you're also paying state and local taxes from your paycheck. And let's say, for example, your deductions, you do qualify to itemize because it totals up to be more than the standard deduction allowed. Okay. And here's the standard deductions here as an example. Okay. For 2024, 14,600 if you are single. All right. If your itemized deductions are not going to be larger than the standard, you're just always going to go with the standard. But if your itemized deductions like medical expenses, and like I just mentioned, see here, home mortgage interest, charitable contributions, all of those kind of things are going to be more, then you'd be using that, okay, for your, you'd be using that up here. See, when we come up to that number, all right, we're going to enter this result in step 4B. Okay, so we come back up here and that number is going to go here. Okay, now just keep in mind everything that's going to total here is what has to do with what they're going to be factoring in terms of withholding from your paycheck. Now, also some people, as you see on 4C, extra withholding, enter any additional tax you want withheld per pay period, because some people just maybe want to make sure or do their best to make sure they don't owe anything. Okay. And so they may want to have extra money coming out. Now, I also want to be clear and say you can actually skip 3 and 4, and you can just really go step to 5 and just sign and date it. Okay. If you don't want to get into all of these intricacies, but these sections are really for people who really want to do some tax planning, because honestly, that's what this form really helps you do. It helps you do tax planning. Tax planning is something we do throughout the year. Tax preparation and tax filing is what we do once a year when we file our tax returns. Okay, I've actually recently started offering tax planning services as well, because when you're able to implement strategies and plans throughout the year, it helps you get better results when you file your taxes. Okay, so I just want to mention that. But yes, your withholding certificate form really can help you do some tax planning in terms of what's coming out and things like that. And, helping you to make sure that you're paying what you're supposed to. And as we all know, we should know, but if we don't know, I'm saying it now. When you overpay, that's when you get a refund. Okay, that's what helps you get a refund, because you overpaid, or because you were like eligible for different credits, different refundable credits that helped you get the refund. Refunds can come from all of those different things. Okay, but tax planning is what helps you to strategize and make sure you're paying what you're supposed to and not overpaying. Okay, now I actually want to take you to, so this is our W-4. This is what you give to your employer. And I also want to stick this in, pardon me for jumping around for a minute, but I also want to say that, you know, your employer does not get to tell you how many times a year you can edit your W-4 form. If you need to make changes accordingly, you should do so. Okay, you should do so. So when you have changes, make your changes, submit your W-4, and yeah, be sure to do that. Now let's come to the withholding estimator. Okay, when you do the withholding estimator, it's going to really help you check your withholding. This tool is good for a few things. It can really help you to see, have like, is the amount that's been coming out so far, is it enough? Is it not enough? Okay, where should I make adjustments? So this is a very helpful tool that they've had on here for quite a bit. And to find it, when you come on IRS.gov, you just in the search bar type tax withholding estimator and you'll come here. So now let's come here and it tells you what you need. Okay, you're going to need your pay stubs for all of your jobs, and as well as income from side jobs, like if you have, investments, or if you have self-employed freelancing income and things like that. And you do need a copy of your most recent tax return. So now let's go into the withholding estimator. And I have my stuff here, so you're gonna, see me coming down to enter this. Now, it starts by asking you information about you. So you're gonna make sure you're checking single. Do you have a job or a pension that regularly withholds federal income taxes from your paycheck or pension payments? Yes. Okay. Select all that apply. I plan to claim dependents on my return. No, because again, remember for this example, we are single, no dependents. I will be 65 or older. In this example, I'm not doing someone like that, nor being blind. I can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return. That we're not going to check that box. And if you remember, in my earlier in the video, I was explaining that one of the ways to also qualify being single is if you're a young adult that can no longer be claimed, right? So you won't be checking this box. And we're going to hit next. Now, income and withholding. Okay, how many jobs will you have this year in which federal income tax is regularly withheld? Okay, include this year's past, present, and expected future jobs. The first job has been added for you. So for our example, we're going to put 1. But again, if you're someone who has 2, you would change this. Okay, you just hit that. But we're going to stick with 1. Now, your first income source, describe, is it a salary? Is it an hourly job? Is it pension, Social Security? We're going to go with salary. Okay. Now, select what best describes when you earn income from this job. Is it all year? Okay. I currently hold this job, but only for a portion of the year. So maybe that's going to be a temporary situation. I had this job earlier this year. Okay. I do not hold this job yet. I expect to start to hold this job later this year. So again, if you realize, that's why I'm saying this tool is very helpful, because it's going to help you see what your projected taxes are going to be for the year. And again, that's with tax planning. What are we expected or potentially expect to be due based on our situation? And everybody has their own unique situation going on. For this example, we're going to say all year. Now, how frequently are you paid? We're going to go with twice monthly. Okay. Using your most recent pay stub, when did your most recent pay period end? So since we get paid twice per month, let's say on the 1st and 15th, we've already gotten paid for the 15th. We didn't get paid at the end of this yet. So we're going to say this period ended, we'll say on the 15th, and we say on the 14th. Okay, and we got paid, then it's going to ask us, what was your most recent pay date? It was the 15th. I know some employers actually carry you through. So whichever way, maybe your period ends on the 15th and you get paid on the 15th. Okay, enter the wages for this period. So I had did my math, and based on the numbers that I was given, I think I made it like over 80,000. So we're going to say 3541.67. Okay, that's the wage per pay period. And the year to date number that I had, if we include this pay cycle, was 10,625.01 was the total wage so far, okay, year to date. Based on the information provided, it looks like your expected annual income from this job. Yeah, see, and that's about what I had did. It was a little over 80. Is this correct? We're going to say yes. Now, enter the federal taxes paid per period. So as you see, this is why it's important for you to have your pay stub with you. So for this period, the federal income taxes was 478.63. The federal taxes paid year to date was 1,435.89. Okay, select any that apply for this job. I contribute to a 401k. Do not include contributions to a Roth. We're not going to check the box. I contribute to a HSA. Okay, we're not going to check that box. I'm getting a bonus. Now, if you're someone who gets a bonus at the end of the year, you should check that box. If you already got a bonus, and if none of the above apply, you can check that. I'm going to check none of the above, but I just want to say here for a minute that these two things right here are even, honestly, some of their tools give you little hidden gems in here because, everybody has their own opinions about 401ks and HSAs and things like that. But honestly, you choose, you pick your poison because the taxes are going to come out your check anyway. So are they coming out to go to taxes or are they coming out to go to your 401k? You know what I mean? You pick your poison because with 401k, that's benefiting you and it helps you to reduce your liabilities. So, as I mentioned, even these little hidden gems, but you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. But yeah, so I'm going to say none of the above. Now, other sources of income. Do you have any other sources of income? Okay, net self-employment, and I'm going to mention that in a minute. Investment income. A lot of people are investing now. They're getting dividends. You sometimes have people in cryptocurrency, all types of things. Maybe you had unemployment. Maybe you have other sources of income. We're going to check none of the above, but I want to mention here really quick net self-employment. That's if you have, you have like side income or whatever. A lot of people are doing side gigs now, even with like, Uber and DoorDash and things like that. Turo, there's so much going on. So your net, it says net because if you are entitled to deductions when you're doing anything that has to do with self-employment, you get to write off deductions. So your deductions is either after your deductions, you're either going to be left with a net profit or net loss. Okay, so if you're going to have net income, you would check that box. So I just wanted to take a minute and express that because, I really want to give you value in today's little free mini class, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I just wanted to go in a little bit on there. So we're going to say none of the above. Withholding and estimated tax payments. Okay, so withholding from other sources of income. So none of that had applied. So we're going to leave that here. Estimated tax payments. Now, if you did happen to make estimated tax payments throughout the year, okay, which if you have side situations going on, you should be making estimated tax payments. So you would enter that here. Okay. And this is also helpful, even if you're only receiving self-employment, you can kind of gauge some numbers here. But so yeah, always make sure you're putting if there was any estimated tax payments you made for the year. But we're going to leave those blank and we're going to say next. Now, adjustments to income. Select any adjustments to income you plan to make when you file your 2024 income taxes or go to the next step. So read through these accordingly because some things may apply to you. If you're paying student loans, maybe you're going to, have some interest deduction. If you're an educator, you're going to qualify for the educator expense deduction. Okay. Deductions and contributions to IRAs. Okay. You would check that box. Again, this is another hidden gem here. This is another hidden gem. These are all really hidden gems in terms of, some savings on taxes, because contributions to an IRA is another tax saving strategy. Okay. Moving expenses for members of the armed forces, if it applies to you. Alimony paid is not really an adjustment anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. But okay, so if any of these adjustments apply, you check the box. But we're going to leave them all blank, and we are going to say next. All right. So now, standard or itemized deductions. And if you guys would like me to do a future video on the difference between the standard deduction versus the itemized deduction, make sure you comment below. Okay. And I'd really love your comments. Whether this video is helpful or not, I'd love your comments, positive comments, negative comments, neutral comments, whatever. Let me know how you feel. Let me know future videos you'd like me to do. Okay, so let's see. All right, but your standard deduction, is calculated for 2024 as $14,600. Now, standard deduction amounts change every year, so don't forget that they change every year. Okay, but for 2024, this is the standard deduction. Remember, I already explained to you earlier the difference between itemizing and standard. Now, would you like to see if itemizing your deductions would be to your advantage? We're going to say no, because like I said, there's more people that don't qualify than do. So we're just going to say no, just use the standard deduction. All right. Now it's going through some tax credits. Okay. How old will you be on January 1st of next year? We're going to pick an age. We're going to say maybe 39. Okay. So we're going to go with 39, going to be 39 next year. Let's see what else. Now, if any of these credits, you can click the drop down to see what would apply to you. For example, if you're a homeowner, okay. Are you going to potentially be eligible for some residential energy credits? There's credits that, they have rolled out, mortgage interest credit for those with a qualified mortgage credit certificate. Okay, that might apply to you. Let's see. There may be you might be eligible for a general business credit, depending on, so if any of these apply to you, also, yeah, I wanted to say, like, energy efficient vehicles. A lot of people now are buying, more energy efficient vehicles, and there's credits that, they've rolled out. So, this may apply to you. So you just want to, go in there and plug in anything that does apply. Okay. But for this purpose, we're not going to say anything applies. We're going to hit next. Now look at this. Okay. See how this is giving you some numbers. Now, based on the information you entered, you're withholding more tax than you need to from your paycheck. See how that works? So that means, based off of what we just plugged in, we are kind of overpaying. So you can kind of get an idea roughly of how much your refund might be next year. Or this is the whole purpose of making adjustments to your W-4, because you might want to adjust your W-4 so that you don't want to worry about getting this $1,700 refund next year. You might want to make withholdings to your situation so that you can just bring the money home now and then just break even at the end. So that's totally up to you what you want to do. Now, obviously, this is just a rough estimate, because so many things can happen, different situations, and there may be things that you didn't even know you were supposed to answer properly, which is why it's always good to work with a tax strategist who can, help you figure out ways to optimize your situation. Okay, because based on this, it's anticipating that your tax obligation is $9,766, right? So if you want to strategize, there are ways to strategize to reduce this. when you hear people say, oh, why do people, so many people, certain situations, certain class of people don't pay taxes. They just maximize on the opportunities. That's it. Now here, as you see, they give you a diagram. Okay, this is another reason why this is helpful, because this is giving you each section what you need to fill out. And then it even shows you download a pre-filled form W-4, which I'll show you in a second, but it's showing you right here, right? You're going to fill out your personal information, which I had showed you, and it shows you where the section for multiple jobs, please leave all fields on this step blank. Okay, see that? Now, this section, I know it's a little confusing because we did say this section was for dependents, but it also says and other credits. So when I open the form that they suggest, you're going to see where they plugged in this 290. Okay. Now it also is saying for other adjustments, please leave all this field blank and then sign and date. Submit your W-4 form to your employer as soon as possible so they can make changes. Okay. And let me just show you what that looks like if you click download the pre-filled form. Okay, so now we come down here. When they say pre-filled, it was just an amount here. Okay, so yeah, so what they're saying is that if you fill out everything else and you have that, that's going to help you. Remember, I was saying that, let me click back over here. Remember, I was saying that if you want to not worry about getting a refund and you just want to break even, if you follow what they're saying to do, that's how it's supposed to work out. Okay. Or you can just leave things the way they are and just work, just get the refund that when it's time to file. But, this is really helpful. So, use it to your advantage. And I think that's going to be it for today's class. I think that's everything that I can think of. Please be sure to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And if you are a subscriber, thank you. My channel is growing. It's over 6,000 now. I'm hoping to reach 10,000 as soon as possible. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video.